Nathaniel Hawthorne wrote a story in the 19th century. It was called The Great Stone Face. And it was about a mountain that overlooked a village. And in the mountain was carved this great stone face. And there was a legend about the stone face that one day a man with that stone face, not with the stone face, but with a face that looked just like the stone face, would come to the village. And he would bring great blessing to the village. Now, a little boy named Ernest heard about this, and so he just sat and studied that face. He looked at that face. He wanted to find out all the contours and the lines in the face so that if that man ever came to the village, he would know who it is. And as days went by, different times, different seasons, there would be rumors that a man has entered the village and he looks a lot like the stone face. And little Ernest, he'd go running out there to look and see. And he would soon recognize that's not the man. He doesn't even look anything like him. He knew this stone face so intimately that he could tell right away the guy wasn't the guy. As he grew older, he himself was a blessing to the village in a sense. He cared for people. He grew such a part of the community. And one day a man was walking with Ernest. And they're just walking together and they were talking. And as the man looked at him, he realized behind him was the stone face. And he said, "Ernest!" And he yelled out, "Behold, Ernest is the man." Ernest had become the very face of the man that he was beholding. He turned into the very man that he was looking at. The Bible actually says something like that. It says that with idol worshipers, they become what they behold. Just like what they behold. And so the same is true for us. We become like whom we behold. This is so, so important when you are trying to hear God's voice. Because in order to behold Jesus, you need to be in his word, soaking in his word, seeing what kind of reactions he has, what kind of responses he had, learning his character. So you begin to so know him so intimately that you become more like him. You become what you beheld. And it's so important as you listen to God's voice. See, when people set aside the word of God, they just put it aside and they just want to listen to the voice in their head. That's where they get into trouble. That's what I talked about yesterday when I said section wacko. This is where the place where cults are founded and new fandangled religions come up because people go, well, I just feel. That's wrong. Don't just go by your feelings. Oh no, I felt this. I heard this voice in my head saying, tap into your own divinity. Wrong. It doesn't go with the Bible. See, the Bible is like the plumb line. And you have to measure things up against the scriptures. Oh, but I just, I had this dream encounter thing where new tablets came down from heaven and wrong. Oh, I think there's no hell. Wrong. Oh, I think I feel God is saying I should divorce my wife and marry that younger gal because she's a better Christian than my wife. There's just so much that goes against the written word of God. And if you hang on to the plumb line, it's not going to lead you astray. So, what's a plumb line? It's like a weight held at the bottom of a string and it hangs very straight. It's centered. Everything measured against it will be perfect. It will be true. And that's what we need to do, because the Bible is the plumb line. We need to measure against the written word of God. God will never go against his written word or against his own character. And so how do you know the character? You stare at it. You soak it in. You become what you behold. I heard of a bunch of Christians that went to a psychic fair, and they set up a booth there for dream interpretation. And they had the longest line in the fair. People kept coming. They wanted to have their dreams interpreted because most dreams are about the dreamer. And in this place, it would seem like many of these people who were searching, they would have dreams like, I'm always having this dream that I'm just lost and I can't find my way. And the Christian would say, well, that's an easy interpretation. You're lost and you can't find your way. And they would end up praying with the people. And the lineup kept growing because it was pretty easy interpretation. Some dreams get a lot more complicated. They get interesting. That's why you got to hang on to the Word of God. Hang on and not do anything against His written Word, which is the plumb line. So, people say, really? Does God still speak in dreams? Does He speak? Is that biblical? Is there a biblical precedent? Well, in the Old Testament and the New Testament, full of dreams. God spoke to Abimelech through a dream. God spoke to Joseph through a dream. God spoke to Jacob through a dream. You go in the prophets, God speaks in dreams. You go to Jesus' birth, it's surrounded by dreams. The early church, dreams are all in there. Dreams and encounters and visions. And remember Paul being the call, the Macedonian call to go to Macedonia came through a dream. But they were always, submitting it to what they knew as the written Word of God back then, the Old Testament, and we have the Old and the New today, and so we submit our dreams to Him. We take our dreams seriously. That's the thing. If you want God to speak to you in a dream, pray about it. Take it seriously. Keep a journal by your bed. Keep something to write with by your bed as well. I've tried to tap in, notes on my phone in the middle of the night without my glasses, and that is a big mess. The more you write down your dreams, the more detail you remember. Take them seriously. Also, here's a tip. Before you move, when you wake up, don't move. Ask the question, what was I just dreaming about? Because as soon as you move, you're probably done. As soon as you move and you look and turn off an alarm or something, oh man, alarm clocks your dreams are gone. But as soon as you move, you forget your dream. It just fades right away. So just, if you can, just stay motionless for a second or two and just think, what was I dreaming about? Take your dreams seriously. Just ask God about them, because He does speak in dreams still. Many people have said to me, hey, I had a dream about you last night. Okay, as soon as that awkwardness is over, I'll ask the question, are you sure it was about me? And they're like, well, you were in it. Right. But see, when God speaks to dreams, He speaks to the dreamer. So I represent things to people. Sometimes that can be a good thing. Sometimes it can be a bad thing. But I often represent God in a dream, or I represent the church or church leadership. So what does it represent to you? Like somebody might have a dream that includes a dog, and that's man's best friend. Not to everybody. It might be to the dreamer, but it might not be. It might be very terrifying to the dreamer. So what type of things is God speaking? What details are there? Why a bus and not a sports car? Why an RV, not an airplane? Like, just ask a lot of questions. The colors are important. The numbers are important. And just search God out. Every revelation is an invitation to a conversation with Him. He wants you to seek Him out and ask Him questions. I'm just trying to think if I have time to do like a quickie dream. It's already going on here. So maybe next time I'll tell you a dream I had that is humorous, but at the same time, God spoke to me through it. Keep on keeping on. Practice writing down your dreams. Practice getting into the Word of God and just beholding Jesus, beholding who God is, because you'll become more like Him. And when you're more like Him, you won't do something stupid and go into section wacko. You'll follow the plumb line of the Word of God, and that is so, so important.